thank you very much for this opportunity. Really had a fun time working on this project.
Hey, Sherry, you are a little humbled, so I don't know if you're in your microphone or...
Are you having trouble hearing me?
That was better. Whatever you just did there was better.
Okay, I will sit like this. The National Geothermal Database System project has been really a transformative project for the Bureau. We've taken great piles of paper and transformed them to digital form. And the other really important thing is it really forced us to think about data management here at the Bureau, which is something that had not really received a lot of attention. And it allowed us to transform our petroleum well database into a much more usable form, and our water databases, which were all kind of scattered over a bunch of different projects, are now in one master database, which has uses beyond geothermal as well. We are looking at it to look at our saline resources here in the state of New Mexico for drinking purposes. And the other important thing is it caused the Bureau to move towards serving our data on the web. We also developed a few derivative products as a consequence of having the data in a digital format. For example, ORMAT came to us a while back. We were preparing the BLM lease at Rincon, which is located here in southern New Mexico, Rincon right here. So we helped them with gather up the available data. We've had a number of folks over the years come to us with asking for data for conservation easements, which is a big thing here in New Mexico. The most important and more interesting derivative product is shown here. Just recently, the Oregon Mountains Desert Peak National Monument was signed into existence, but before we could do that, the state land office needed to know whether these lands had any geothermal potential. So we worked together with the state land office to create a heat flow map of Doñana County, which is very helpful for our legislators to understand whether these lands should be set aside. I want to spend a little bit of time now talking about the new data that we've gathered as part of this project. We have gathered data in the Taos area here in northern New Mexico, in the Santa Fe area, in the Buckman well field, which is the main water supply for the city of Santa Fe, some data from Southwest Camas Mountain, and then quite a bit of data here in central New Mexico. And I'm going to focus this discussion on the central New Mexico aspect of this thing. So here's the state of New Mexico. Here's the area that we're looking at. The town of Cruces Consequences is off this way, and Las Cruces is off towards the south. Here's Caballo Lake. And it's been known for a long time that there's a geothermal resource at Hillsboro, and AMAX studied that area a few years back. But as a consequence of this work, we've identified several new sources of either hot or warm water. We're particularly excited about this Gillis well, which is located just a little bit south of Caballo Lake. We've identified warm springs here on Verenda Creek, and just about a month or so ago, we stumbled across a warm spring here a little bit to the southeast of Hillsboro. Here are the new data from the Gillis well. Again, this is one of those instances where it's a bit of luck. There was a little serendipity involved. There was a farmer who was trying to irrigate his onion field, and he poked several holes in the field, and all of them came up dry except for this one that was up here in the corner, and he hit hot water. 64 degrees seawater at 104 meters. As a consequence of the funding that we had, we were able to go out and log the well. One thing about this whole program is because we're based at New Mexico Tech, we've been able to involve a lot of students in this research. We've had 5 graduate students and 3 undergraduates who received funding as a consequence of this effort. And this well has been was deepened, and they had even hotter water that was black line, so we had some sort of hang up in the well, so we weren't able to get to the bottom. But the well is definitely warming up, and it looks like a really exciting new prospect. We've been focusing on central New Mexico because of the geologic setting. This particular area around Hillsboro and Lake Valley occurs at the intersection of laramide structures and caldera ring fractures and Rio Grande Rift normal faults. This area has been the subject of one master's thesis, and we are in the process of writing this up for GRC. Here are some of the industry data from the Hillsboro area, and here's Hillsboro Warm Spring. Here's a well that was drilled near it, and you can see that there's very high temperatures, 84 degrees at about 74 meters. Another interesting project that came up while we have this funding to go out and gather new thermal data is a geothermal sustainability and the truth of consequences. This is a pretty remarkable place. If you're not familiar with New Mexico, truth of consequences, it used to be called Hot Springs, New Mexico, and there are a number of spas in this particular area. In recent years, there's been a lot of drilling of new wells by people in their backyard, and the spa owners became concerned, and so they came to us to evaluate the situation. So we were lucky in that C.V. Tice had been in this area back in the 40s, and he had collected a really nice set of temperature and water level measurements. And this plot here shows Tice's data from 1941 as little black dots, and then the colored lines are our measurements. As a consequence of all this work, we learned that the water table has dropped about 1 to 2 feet, pressures have dropped significantly, and the temperatures have cooled off about 4 degrees C since the 1940s. And the city of TRC asked us to put a limit on suggest a limit on pumping, and this is what we came up with. So we feel like that producing waters at this rate will keep the resource sustainable. And then one final thing I wanted to mention as a consequence of the supplemental funding that we got. One of my colleagues here at the Bureau, Virgil Luth, is working with folks in our Argonne geochronology lab to develop a dating technique to date geothermal deposits. In particular, we're looking at manganese, and the particular mineral of interest is cryptoline, which has a little bit of potassium in it. And we are in the process of going to places where we have fairly good geologic control, determine dates, and then see if these dates are making any sort of sense. And this is an example from the truth of consequences area where we have a date of 4.85 million years on one of these manganese deposits, which fits in quite nicely with the geologic controls, and suggests that TRC system has been hanging around in its similar state for quite a long time. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sherry. I'd like to go ahead and open it up to 2 questions.
So Sherry, Rick here. Did you end up looking at the Albuquerque Basin thermal regime?
One of the students here at Tech, a young lady named Emily Woolsey, is worked on developing a hydrogeologic model of the basin based on a north and south cross section. And one of the things that came out of this renewed look at data is that there is a well just north of Socorro here at a place called Santa Gracia that has warm waters coming up. So yes, the Albuquerque Basin has some potential to it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've got a question about your, this is Lisa, your data from Truth or Consequences. You said they could, an estimated, or they could produce an estimated 2 million gallons per day. What have they been producing over the years by comparison? And are they re-injecting anything?
I didn't catch the first part of that question.
Oh, I was just wondering how much volume TRC has been producing over the years relative to the 2 million gallon per day estimate that you say is sustainable.
That's actually they're producing a bit less than that. That was kind of like a maximum pumping rate. Okay. Because of all these potential new wells coming online, we didn't want them to be over that particular value. Their daily production is not nearly that high. And in terms of re-injection, they don't re-inject. They dump it into the river, okay, into the Rio Grande.